Awesome. Would you mind sending me that video as well? I'm also
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
quite
Yeah.
curious how the new integration
Yeah,
works.
yeah.
Cool, but you feel free to like rename and do whatever there. You should be good. Cool. Hey, welcome. We have Asmos, we have Ponta. Welcome, welcome. Rifat was here, but he left. Maybe he's having some trouble. We'll just give a few more minutes for him to join, and then we can start. How's everybody doing?
Super excited. Super excited.
Awesome, awesome. Let's see. Any messages here?
Hi, everyone who I haven't met. I'm Brendan. I'm production guy. Feel free to hit me up however, whenever. And just trying to wrangle normal life, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. But yeah, hopefully these meetings will be smoother in the future and I can record them, etc. But yeah, happy to be a part of the team, y'all. Let's get Lavina talking and pretend the demon's talking underneath.
Awesome, awesome. Well, while we're actually waiting for everyone to join, Brendan, since for those of you who don't know, Brendan is actually our villain. He did a lot of the mocap he did all the mocap for all the male characters. Um, but I had this crazy idea, Brendan. So Lavina was the only one that actually captured facial at GPK. But we have this awesome technology of Metahuman, and we're able to take any video and process it to get facial animation. So I might have you just take your phone and record some, like for the Euro 404, like when he goes through the door with the pipe, just have him like breathing or something. And then for Ben, when he's sitting there, he reaches for his mask and then he puts it on and he has that dialogue moment. But just when he's sitting there, just maybe having him, like do something. I think, and then we can just process it through and make it look awesome. So I'd love to have you just a bit later down the line, once we have the rigs and everything, maybe just record us some B-roll of your face with your phone.
That iconic
Yes.
look.
Hit me up. Maybe I can even. Oh yeah. Maybe I can even find like an Amazon uh, cell phone head rig, because I'll get into it.
Nice. I mean, that works too. Awesome. I'm waiting in the lobby. Brendan, if you can have a quick look, we have Rifat. He says he's in the lobby. If you could, if he's there, if you can just admit him. I don't know if I'm not seeing him here.
Notification. He might be in a different lobby. Someone, because I think I actually
Okay.
made a dupe of this.
Okay, let me
Someone sent this.
just send him the link.
Yeah, I thought the Discord link was actually the meeting. And then I was so confused. I'm like, where is everybody? Like, Josh just only showed the face for like a few seconds. Did I miss the meeting? And then I got a DM from Colin. He's like, hey, girl, where are you at? I'm like, oh my God. Oops. So I checked my Gmail.
Yeah, that was the acid meeting that we were at.
Oh, was it the? I'm pretty sure. Is the meeting still recorded, or is this?
Oh, so I'm recording on the side here with
Okay,
OBS,
got it.
just because we
Yeah,
don't have we don't
yeah.
have what I want to figure it out.
You're
We'll get
doing
it
the
fixed
you're
for
doing the
next time.
rigging meeting strategy.
We're doing. I mean, technically, this is like hybrid between pipeline rigging and animation. So I mean, we're just adapting from your department here as well. You know how it is. Cool. So we're just waiting for Asmos and here's Asmos and Rifat.
You. Yes. There we go.
Awesome. Hey guys, welcome. Can you hear me all right? Okay, Asmos
Yes.
is still not working. Maybe your microphone settings on Google is maybe not working. Hey, Refut. There we go. Welcome. Cool. Okay, I guess we can get started. As most, it's all good. If the mic's not working, we can we can just try and use the chat. Okay, cool. So hi everyone, welcome to the Alchemy of the Storm. This is our awesome little project that we're doing all together. We're making a really awesome film. So this is a brand new department that I've put together. So our Metahuman department. Essentially, what we are is or what you guys are facial TDs. So you're going to be working with our main actor, our main character, Lavina. We have recorded a lot of really awesome facial motion capture, professional grade, at Goodbye Cancer Studio, and we have a lot of data that we need to work with. We're going to be using metahumans, we're going to be using Maya, and it's confirmed now we're also going to be using a tiny little bit of Houdini for one character. So our main character, Lavina, she's the only character that has this professional studio grade facial motion capture. But we have two other characters that we're also going to be doing some regular metahuman iPhone phone metahuman capture. And then one of those characters being Ben, who's partly our villain, that will be handled in Houdini, where all the other characters will be going through Maya. But obviously, first through Unreal, and then we export out. So just a little bit about me. My name is Josh. I am the CG supervisor here on the Alchemy of the Storm. I have been working with Metahuman for quite a long time, both in games and in film. And I was fortunate enough to work on multiple different projects throughout my career, some of them Marvel, some of them Disney. And last year, I got the opportunity to work on a cinematic character for Call of Duty Black Ops 7 with Playtech. And I got to witness their metahuman pipeline, which was very, very different than we normally see online through tutorials. So I've continued to adapt that pipeline into what we have today. And to give you guys an idea, the regular metahuman pipeline is usually all Unreal Engine focused. But in this case, since we're not rendering in Unreal, we'll actually be rendering in Houdini using V-Ray. But all rigging and animation gets done in Maya. So what we do is we essentially process our metahuman inside Unreal and then take that to Maya. And then we take all the motion capture data through Metahuman Animator inside of Unreal, and then we process it and then export it as FBX to Maya and to Houdini for our one character. So it's a very different process. There's not really much documentation on this on the internet, but luckily we have solved about 90% of the pipeline. So you guys won't have to reinvent the wheel. It's just going to be fun to get into the workflow, and then we're going to see how we can optimize this and maybe write some scripts to get that working a little bit better. And Yusuf is going to be helping us on the technical side of that. But before we get into more technical jargon and metahuman mumbo jumbo, let's go around the room and we can introduce everyone. So first up, for everyone, we have Colin. Colin is our rigging supervisor. He has been building some really, he and his team have been building some really amazing rigs for the show, and Colin himself is also working on the main character, Lavina. So Colin, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so hi, nice to meet you all. I'm Colin Cheng. I am the rigging supervisor for Alchemy of a Storm. So far, rigging has been going very well. It's me and my small group of, I think, 3 other riggers that make up all the characters. So I'm looking forward to working with you all on this side. I've been kind of like getting more and more roped into like metahuman and like the whole pipeline side gradually, but it's starting to just be like where I just I just fall in between both departments at this point. Nice to meet you all.
Glad to have you on board, man. Cool. Let's go with start with Ponta. I hope I'm not butchering your name. Feel free to tell us a little something about yourself. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Wait, sorry. Can you say that one more time?
Okay.
What did
Oh,
you say?
I was just asking you to just introduce yourself and say something, and then I
Oh,
was
no,
hoping that I wasn't butchering your name.
no, you're fine. I'm sorry. We're still moving.
Okay.
So
All good.
really, it's so chaotic. So downstairs, I just hear boom, boom, boom. I was like, why is everybody so quiet? Yeah. Hello. My name is Ponta. I am a motion capture artist and 3D animator. I can't wait to work with you all. I literally was sent a cute little message, a little letter from Cupid himself, which is Colin. And he said, "Hey, would you like to do some like motion capture but learn more about facial motion capture?" And I was like, "Oh my god, please." And then I realized that there was a chance that I all I remember was that I saw a pony because I saw the unicorn head, and then about motion capture, and I was like, "Oh heck yeah, I'm so ready!" And then I realized it was actually human with the horn. I was like, "Either way, heck yeah, I'm so ready to do this." So pleasure meeting y'all. Sorry about that.
Awesome. Well, welcome to the team. Glad to have you here. All right, Rifat.
Thank you.
Hello guys, how are you? Thank you for having me. I'm probably one of the least experienced artists here, so I will just try to follow your lead. And if I have anything to add, I'll just add. I'm just trying to, be valuable to the team, if that makes sense. Thank you so much. Especially thank to Josh. I have been really pestering him to just work with him like in any project. Finally, he was really kind enough to give me a chance, and I haven't met Yusuf, but I have seen his work, so love your work. I've been seeing you from art heroes, actually, both of you. So thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Welcome, Rifat. Glad to have you on board. Cool. Yusuf.
Okay, I'm a character TD. Started as like a character artist. I've been playing like with the Metahuman and the rigging stuff like since it started. Like since the beginning on Unreal Engine 5.2, I have been playing with the Metahuman like motion capture stuff. Currently working on more as a pipeline TD and the character TD, like handling the technical stuff and the scripts and stuff. Like yeah, and glad meeting you all. And thank you, Rafat. Happy to meet you finally. And yeah.
Awesome. Glad to have you on board, man. Asmus, is your microphone working?
Yeah, it's working now. Can you hear me?
Awesome. Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I'm Asmo 3D and I do metahumans and stuff. I started since 2021, early Unreal Engine metahuman days. Now I specifically work with museums, some media firms, and all the things. So yeah, so I'm doing it like 4 and 5 years for the metahumans specifically. And aside that, I'm also into cinematics and all the things. So yeah.
Awesome. Good to have you on board, man. Cool. Let's get into some of the stuff we're going to be doing here. Like I mentioned at the beginning, it's a little bit different. Would love to know if any of you guys have experimented with some of this stuff, but usually it's a little different than we find the usual use cases of MetaHuman. So I'm going to switch over here and share my screen, and then we can have a look. We're going to start in Unreal first, and I'll just quickly show you guys what we have, and then we'll shift over to Maya and to Houdini. So in Unreal, this is probably the most well documented stage of our pipeline. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Great. So if any of you have been working with MetaHuman and have been recording some motion either with an iPhone or with a webcam, you'll probably already be familiar with MetaHuman Animator and that workflow. So in the beginning, we have our MetaHuman. So this is, I can actually show you guys here. This is my testing ground, so it's very messy, but we will be building a template that is clean and it has all the settings and everything worked up.
Is this being recorded? Like,
Yes.
will you tell if it's been recorded? Okay.
Yes,
Thank you.
we're recording this, so we'll share the recording with everyone once we've uploaded. So let me just quickly open up this asset. So while this opens, I'll just quickly show in Maya. So how this starts in terms of the character, and this has all been done already, but I'm just going to walk you guys through it. So our character team has gone ahead and they've sculpted the character, and then we've wrapped her head and body onto the Metahuman topology that's available on Fab. So this is all completely Metahuman compatible topology. So they've taken the shape of the scan. In this case, we actually scanned our actress and touched her up a little bit in ZBrush. So we've wrapped the topology from Metahuman onto our character. And then we take that topology or that mesh and we export it to Unreal Engine, where we feed it through Metahuman and create our Metahuman character. But where ours is a little bit different than most usual Metahuman work cases is we have a couple of different new meshes and different topology meshes, which are our eyes. So usually in Metahuman, you only have these guys. So these are just, your regular eyeballs. And that is because obviously Metahuman was initially meant for games, for a games pipeline within Unreal Engine. So the way that they do the eyes is with some shader magic inside Unreal that calculates the sclera, which is the white of the eye, the cornea, which is the glass lens in front, and the iris, which sits behind the cornea. The iris is the part with color in the eyes. So this is all done on top of this mesh in Unreal. But since we're not in Unreal and we're doing offline rendering, it's casting a lot of rays and we really want to get the caustics from the eyes. What we need an iris mesh. And that looks like this. Let me just quickly grab it. So if we hide the eye here, whoop, that's not what I wanted to do. I accidentally, hold on, there we go. So it looks like this. So this little guy is essentially where we have the iris, so the color of the eye. And then this little divot here in the middle, this is the pupil, so the black dot in the eye. So we have this guy sitting underneath our eyeball. So this is the part that's custom. And then we're still using the same tier line mesh or eye mesh from Metahuman, but we just split it into left and right, and we give it one more subdivision. So this is essentially all that's different, and then also the naming and grouping is a little bit different. So this has already been rigged and works great here, and also with the eyes. It's very easy to get this working, and you pretty much just transfer the weights from the eyes to the iris. So we have that working. The one thing to note is that because we have custom meshes, that never touches Unreal. That always will live in Maya. And we have the separate Metahuman in just the default Metahuman in Unreal that we're going to be processing all the data on. And then we bring it back here to Unreal. But because the rig and the faceboard is exactly the same, when we apply our facial animation here, it will only animate the faceboard and thus animating the new meshes that we have. So this is essentially sort of the thought behind our custom Metahumans in that case. And then here we have our Metahuman inside of Unreal. So we're only caring about the head in this case. So the body has the dimensions of our character, but we're not caring about the textures or anything from Unreal because we're actually using a very bespoke custom rig for the bodies. This was set up by Colin and his team, which is a variation of the rig we received from Goodbye Kansas Studios and the rig that they use over there. So essentially what we do is we have our body rigs and we have our Metahuman head rig, and then the head rig just gets attached on top of the body rig. So it's essentially two rigs in one. That's how we're dealing with this. Colin, I don't know if you want to say some words on that sort of pipeline to
Yeah,
show the guys.
so what we call the rig from Goodbye Kansas is called a stage proxy. And so the stage proxy is what they use to record all of the record all the motion capture data on. And so we basically do this layering of like a stage proxy without the mocap data, and then build the rig over that, and then use the stage proxy with the mocap data to match it to the rig. And so it's just like this kind of like this layering that happens. And then with the metahuman face, it would be the same concept of you'd have the metahuman face without any of the motion capture data from, or the HMC, I think it is, from GBK, and then basically just transferring all that data onto the controls.
Awesome. Before we go on, since this is a lot of technical stuff, does anybody have any questions about what we just talked about?
I mean, not like questions, just like the clarifications, like the proxy mesh. Was it Collins was talking about? Was it like a low subdivided mesh? I was just curious. It's really not a question. Just trying to know the technical details.
Yeah,
I can answer this if you want.
yeah, Colin, go ahead.
Yeah, so the mesh we got was, it's kind of like it's a low poly mesh. With the most important part of it is the proportions, because you can make like all like the details on like the model that you want, but if the proportions are off, then it won't match what the rig was designed for. So so we start from this kind of like so for Lavina we have very like low poly Lavina with just like kind of like everything that she has. So she has a gigantic prosthetic arm. So you'd add like that, like it's very like simplified. I think it's in triangle, it's in tris. So it's like all like optimized, so it's like a very small file size.
Right. So basically, it's to run the whole animation faster, so we get the data fast in and out, and then explore what we need.
And then we'll add the details in as we build the rig and everything.
Right.
Also, to iterate on that as well, since at the stage when we were doing motion capture, we had not yet finished our character. So essentially, in character terms, it was our blockout that we had just run through Decimation Master to get a very low poly proxy. So we use this term in VFX quite a lot, proxy, which is basically just blockout or like a low poly mesh. So, and that was what we had established our proportions, our height, our scale, everything in this blockout, and then we sent that over to Colin and his team to get the rig going so that we could do the motion capture. And then by doing that, we also locked ourselves into the proportions. So as we were building the character, we could not change anything in terms of like finger orientation or rotation because the rig is locked. So, but that is a very normal part of production. We usually tend to rig very early on, or we have the rigging team build the block out of the rig, if you will, in the beginning. So in games, usually to start prototype animation and gameplay, and then in film, usually for motion capture or early animation tests. And then systematically, as the model gets progressed and gets finished, it gets updated in rigging. And we are actually just wrapping up the model right now as we speak of Lavina, and we will be sending the latest model to Colin in a couple days for his team to start. And I can show you guys what the final model actually looks like. Just a second. So
we use we use proxies too in rigging. We actually call them proxy rigs. So that's when it's blocked out.
Awesome. So this is our current stage of our character. She's almost done. Topology is pretty much finished. We're just doing some final things and finishing up the arm. There's some pieces here that's missing. And then also finalizing UV. So this is going to be done very, very soon. But this is the full character. This is our main character. Here's her face. And this is going to be the character that you all will be working with on the facial. So here's a nice close-up. So the cool thing about her is she's a bit different than your average everyday character. She's got a very big helmet that fits on top of the face. So again, another challenge for rigging, because this has to also work with the dual rigs. And then she has this robotic arm here, which is kind of also a rig on its own, because it can detach and shoot in the distance, and you can fight with it and unlock doors and do crazy stuff like that. So this is our almost final character. You could say, you know, when you name things and you call it final, that yeah, this one is final 4, version 1. That's where we are with her right now. Yeah, so moving on to some more Metahuman stuff. So this process is pretty simple. If any of you have worked with Metahuman, you know, doing a custom character in ZBrush, wrapping it to the topology. I know the newest 5.8 beta has some tools that kind of do this in Unreal as well. So once that comes out, that might make the process a little bit easier. But this is pretty standard. Where it gets more interesting is when we start working with motion capture data. So the first thing we do for motion capture, and this is kind of going to be the workflow that a lot of you guys are going to use. Again, we're going to try and automate some of these things with Yusuf. But essentially, what we do is we need to get to this guy here. This is the capture manager. So if you've done any sort of like capture, video capture or motion capture with Metahuman and iPhone, you'll be familiar with this process. But pretty much we go to Tools and then Live Link Hub, and that will give us this guy. So by default, it's set to live data. This is where you're gonna connect your iPhone or capture camera or whatever. We're not actually gonna use this because we're not doing live capture. We're gonna be processing video capture from disk. So, and we'll record or we'll document the whole process for you guys, so you have a nice laid out tutorial on how this works. Right now, I'm sort of just walking you guys through everything. So instead of live data, we're gonna go capture manager and then add device, and we're using mono video ingesting. So we're going to go there, and then we have a path here that I'm just going to copy. And then we're just going to input that. There we go. And this will show all of the videos that you have available. So we have a lot of motion capture, but it's just for this one character, for Lavina. Although what makes it more interesting is we have 2 actors. So we have our actress that is voicing and doing all of the dialogue for Lavina. Her name is Kika. And then we also have the stunt performer that was doing all of the crazy stunts. Her name is Nila. So for a lot of the shots, we'll have 2 different versions. We'll have Kika's mocap and we'll have Nila's mocap. But luckily, we don't need to choose which one looks better. The editorial team, they'll be choosing everything for us. So they're essentially just going to give us the name of the clip and the start and end time code, and then we'll be using that to process this stuff. So then next, you just select all the clips that you want, you add it to the queue, and then you just click start. And that will go ahead and process it through, and it will make a new folder in your Unreal project called Capture Manager, imports, and then mono video ingest. And this is going to be where you have all of the data that you're going to be working with. So it makes a folder based on the name of the file. We're going to go and simplify some of the naming, because I know the naming is a bit crazy here. For example, we have this really, really long name. We'll simplify that down. But pretty much what that data looks like is you'll have this, you usually have like 2 different files. So it would be these 2. So you have your capture data, or actually you'll have 3 files. You'll have this capture data, footage capture data file. You'll have this image media source, and then you'll have the sound file. This is pretty much the video, the audio, and then the whole thing put together in a format that Metahuman and Unreal can understand. Then from there, all we do is we just go Metahuman and then do a Metahuman performance. So I already have one here. We're just going to open it up just to show you guys sort of what that looks like, and also what the data we're working with is going to look like. I usually ask you, do you want to use the audio source clock? We always say yes to that, just so it helps with the syncing. We give that a second just to open. And as we wait for this to open, does anyone have any questions so far?
No, sir.
Cool, everybody good? Okay.
Yes.
So again, if you've done
all
any
good.
sort of mocap with your iPhone or whatever in Metahuman, you'll already know this step. But yeah, so this one has already been processed. So what it looks like is on the left side here we have our mocap from Kika, our main actress. So this video file has a lot of useful information for us to use. So first up, on the right here we have the name of our actor. In this case, it's Kika, our main actress. Then we have these big numbers here at the bottom. This is going to be very crucial information for us to use. This is the time code information. Now, if you've never worked with mocap and you never worked with time code, basically what this is it's the time down to the millisecond of the capture. This is used to line up the head and the body and the audio with everything. So in this case, the timecode information is baked into the video and not into Unreal. So let's just close this. If we switch over to timecode here in Metahuman, it's not going to line up. So this is the one downside, because the video files we receive don't have timecode baked into it, rather than just a text in the video. But it's very easy to work around this. Essentially, what we're going to be doing, as we scrub through the timeline, we can see all of the awesome mocap here. We're going to process this through to apply the animation to the Metahuman. So I've already done this. So if I just click play, you can get an idea of what we have.
Don't worry, I'm fine. I just got a lot in my mind.
Try to relax. We're almost there. I'm coming back now.
So did you find a way in?
Yes. We'll most likely be out of sight.
I can work with that.
So the audio is a little soft. I'm not sure if you guys heard that, but this is pretty much the level of quality and data that we're going to be using. So a lot of really cool stuff. But essentially, the way the workflow is going to work is we're not going to process the whole clip, because if you notice here in the beginning, we have this whole like 600 frames here in the beginning where she's sort of getting into position and going from T-pose into the actual pose of the starting of the sequence. And then at the end, we have the same, where either we stop or she goes into T-pose. So we don't want to process that. We only want to process the stuff that we're actually going to use. So to make it easier on us, Editorial, they're busy putting together the edit for the film, and they are taking the facial animation and the body animation, and they're lining it up for us. So what they're going to do is they're taking this timecode information, and they'll be giving us the exact numbers of that timecode for the start and the end of that shot. So we'll have the start timecode and the end timecode. So then we're going to go ahead, and pretty much the workflow is we're just going to scrub the timeline and keep our eye on these numbers until we get to the first start frame with the timecode. And then it's very simple. You just right click and do set start time. And then we're going to go to the end. Let's say that's the end. We right click and we set end time. And we're going to try and automate this with scripts. And then we right click and lock it so we don't accidentally move it anywhere. And we'll notice the set time is no longer available for us. And then all we do is we literally just go and hit process. And that's going to go ahead and transfer the facial mocap over to our Metahuman. And this is some next level magic from Epic using their machine learning algorithms. Before this, doing any sort of facial motion capture was a lot more involved. Luckily, we have this awesome technology, and now we can just, simply brush through it, see what it looks like. It looks good. Okay, cool. And then we can go ahead and export it. So from here, we export as level sequence, and we can give it a name. We'll again try and automate this process because this is a bit annoying because you have to do a couple of steps right after each other, and it needs to be precise. So we're going to try and automate this, but you give it a name. We're just going to call this test just for now, but we'll actually name it the same as the shot. And then we just need to select our target Metahuman, which is Lavina. And then instead of doing the whole sequence, we'll just do the processing range. That is just the part that's been processed. And we hit create. And this is just going to make a level sequence for us in the same folder that we're working in. Let me give that a second. There we go. All right, so now we can see here we have this new test level sequence. So we're just going to go ahead and double click that. That will load it up here in our viewport, and we can view it through the camera. We can scrub through. This is the full Metahuman, but we don't really care too much about this. This is just the next step to export it. So I mean, you can go through and you can scrub it and you can see it, you know, with all the materials and stuff. That's cool and all. But what we're actually after is if we just expand the sequencer, we go down, we're looking for face and then face control, board control rig. It's very easy. All we do is we right click and we just do export control rig FBX. So we're just going to call this test. Click save. And then here we just need to change the control mapping presets to Metahuman control mappings and click export. And that's it. So again, we're going to try and automate this because it's a lot of button clicks. And, you know, when you're doing a lot of stuff repetitively, sometimes you'll click the wrong area. And this happens to me a lot of times where I accidentally export the body's control rig and then nothing works and you're wondering why is nothing working. So we're going to try and make this easier for you guys. But yeah, so now we have essentially exported out our FBX. So we're going to go back to Maya with our Metahuman. And then we're going to go to the animation side. And then all we're going to do is we're just going to click import here. And we are going to... This is just a test. What we'll actually do is we're just going to send this FBX to the animation team. Yeah, and then this is pretty much just asking us what is the rig or which rig, and usually you'll have multiple of these because in a scene, an animation scene, you'll have the different characters, and then the different characters will have different parts of the rig because Lavina has the Metahuman head rig and the body rig. So it'll basically just ask you which one you wanna put this on. So we're gonna put this on root. Colin, we probably want to see if we can rename this or put an identifier there, just in case if we have multiple characters or multiple versions of Lavina, so it doesn't just have like multiple roots here and you don't know which one is which. But that's maybe something we need to look into for the Metahuman rig. But we're just gonna apply. I think it gave me an error here. Why did it give me an error? Let's see.
Aeon also has its own inherent file namespace, so that could also be a differentiator to which one.
Yeah, that might be good. Let's see. Okay, for some reason it's not working now. It was working earlier. Maybe it's probably because it's being referenced. Let's see if we import it. Or maybe the namespace. This is something we're still testing. Let's use this one. Apply. Okay, right now it's not working, but we'll figure out technical difficulties. We'll figure this out and then we'll get back to you guys with proper documentation. But basically, this is how it works. Could be that I might have exported the body instead of the head again. But yeah, usually that's how you export it, and then in Maya, this is how you import it through this. And then it's just testing to see if it works, and then we ship it off to to the animation team. We're also getting a very experienced facial animator. He is the lead facial animator at Goodbye Kansas Studios. He's going to be doing all of the touch-ups on the mocap. So once we process the mocap through to Metahuman and we ship it off to animation, he's going to be doing the tweaks and making sure everything works. So this is essentially the processing workflow on how we're going to deal with the motion capture overall. And then we also, once we're here, they're going to animate it. And once all animation is done, they're going to be exporting just the geometry as an Alembic file to ship that to Houdini. What that means is that no rig data gets transferred to Houdini. All of the rigging and animation stays in Houdini, like all the skeletons. In Maya. And then once everything goes to Houdini, it's just point data. So there's no rigs on top of these meshes in Houdini, except for one character. Ben, our villain, he's going to be rigged and animated in Houdini. The reason for that is because of our side effects sponsorship. They want us to explore the new features with Houdini, so we're going to be doing one character with the new Houdini 22 rigging and animation tool. So that's going to be pretty interesting. And then instead of processing or importing the FBXs into Maya, we're going to be doing that in Houdini, which the process is a little bit different, but we're going to set up templates and everything, so you guys don't need to worry about that. And just to show you guys sort of like when we get to Houdini, how does this metahuman look? How do the meshes work? How do the materials work? This is just a very quick demo of something we have set up. So we're using V-Ray in this case, and I'll show you why we're using the customize as well here in a second. But basically, this is sort of like what we're going for. We're going for something a little bit more realistic, but we're also going to make it a bit more artsy with some brush strokes and line art and all of that good stuff. But the main reason is the eyes. So the reason we have that iris mesh at the back is so we can get these fine level caustics and refraction in the eyes that really help to sell the emotion and the story. So this is pretty much the process. Anybody have any questions or thoughts or concerns?
What was it? While you've been chatting, I've been actually bringing in the first iteration of Lavina's metahuman head into the Zoo Tools rig. So if you want, I can share my screen. I can just show you like a quick quickly like what that looks like. Yeah. Okay, so do you guys see this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so this is what it looks like in Maya, and this is Lavina's rig right here. So I wasn't actually able to. I think what is it? I need to update the plugin because I don't think this actually has the button that automatically does it. But this is what it would look like hypothetically. So was it? So right now it's like all connected. The reason was it. So all I have to do is just some like quick like skinning to match the metahuman face, and you can mess with it here. We can just like do some like random pose, just move a bunch of things around, and we can do something like this. And then if we like turn like the head, we can see all that like moving all nice and dandy. Yay. So yeah, that's kind of like more or less what it's going to look like once we bring in the things for Lavina.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's all coming together.
Cool. And then the final thing as well for our little team, if and when there are any adjustments to the face of our characters that are going to be on Metahuman, I'm going to be passing them to you guys to run through the Metahuman workflow. Just getting that through, getting the DNA out, setting that up in Maya, for anything. So I've gone ahead and set up Lavina currently, which is the file that Colin has now. It should be able to load. But if we have any additional updates due to some notes, because we haven't started shots yet, we're starting shots in July. Then we're going to see everything in context. We're going to see the face move. We're going to see lighting. Certain things might need to be adjusted. Maybe she needs, I don't know, or not just Lavina, but some of the other characters. Maybe they need some adjustments to the face. Any adjustment, no matter how small, to the face will require us to go through Metahuman again. So then I'm just going to be passing it off to you guys, just to go through and process that through the Metahuman creator, and then for the Metahuman animator stuff. So cool. Let me know your thoughts.
Okay, where can we access like files with this things up?
So we're using Google Drive to share our files between each other. I am going to be taking a couple files and sending that to you guys to just play around with. We're just finalizing her rig. So probably tomorrow I'll set up an Unreal Engine scene that I can share with you guys that has the Metahuman in, and that you guys can just start playing around with the data. And we'll probably get you guys one or two clips just to play with. We're not gonna start any major work for maybe another week or two. We're just waiting for editorial to get us those clips and those numbers that will make our lives easier. So during this time, I would love for you guys to just mess around, play around with the data, get a feel for it. And then Yusuf, I'd really love for you to try and see if we can automate some of these, especially the exporting. Because the more time we can focus just on the mocap and the less button clicking would be great, and that will allow us to iterate faster. We have a lot of data, so a little bit about this movie. It's roughly about between 8 to 10 minutes long, and it's very dialogue heavy. We have a lot of dialogue, and we have close-ups. So our main character, Lavina, she gets seen from pretty much every single camera angle you can imagine. We have angles like this close to the camera. We have angles like really far away from the camera. We see the bottom of her shoe. We see every single angle imaginable. So we really want to push the quality of this character so she looks badass. And we have a lot of dialogue. So we have just, your normal everyday, walking around grunting. We have the dialogue between the unicorn and the drone. We have emotional scenes where our actress is literally crying, and we're gonna try and see if we can create a crying effect in CG to like really sell the emotion. We have epic fight scenes with our villain Demon Pope. By the way, guys, Brendan here, our producer, he is also the villain. He did all the mocap for all of the male characters. So that's our villain, which is the Demon Pope and Ben. Also the zombies that we have. Brendan did an amazing job with the zombies, but he's a master at that. Anyway, he's a professional motion capture performer, and just all out amazing person. So and we have him as a producer, so that is even cooler. Just
before my time throwing my body around, I was in production, and actually the last thing I productified was Ready Player One. So it's really cool that we're doing something where we're really pushing that uncanny valley, and I was coordinating facial capture pipeline and mocap, so feels like that a lot.
It's amazing.
And
amazing.
and then if you guys played the Callisto Protocol, I was a zombie every Thursday for 5 hours on the mocap stage for 2 years. So it was, these guys were actually easy compared to that.
Yeah, I was watching when they did the capture at Goodbye Kansas. I was on the Zoom watching you guys, and I was like, oh, that looks very familiar, man. I don't know, it looks kind of like something that killed me a million times in Callisto. but yeah, and Brendan has also done some really crazy stuff, like he is Megatron as well. So Brendan is a seasoned professional, so he's an amazing person. And if you guys have
seasoned
mocap
actor
questions, Brandon is
Delcio
right.
dragged me in, and he was like, "Yeah." I got lucky enough as a production assistant. They're like, "Hey, we need someone who can, run into a wall, and who's can smash around and who's pretending to be a Ninja Turtle, since they're 6 years old in their backyard." And I was like, "Oh," but yeah, little they know that I actually had a background in a lot of dance and acting and sports, so it just kind of worked out from there. But I kept doing production the whole time as well. For Turtles 2, I was actually taking notes in between takes myself, while doing that because I was the animation coordinator. So yeah, I'm just happy to be in the mix, So I'm really excited to be on the production team as well, and feel
Awesome.
free to make my body look so much better, because I'm always like, wow, I didn't know I could jump that high when I see an animation, or I didn't know I could make that face.
Awesome.
It's definitely a full team performance.
Awesome. We're really happy to have you on board, Brendan. Cool. Any other ideas or thoughts? Also, if you guys have any of your own ideas that you'd like to try out, maybe some new technology or new techniques that you've been playing around with on your own side, feel free to let us know. Maybe we can figure something out and set something up. Maybe there's something cool that you've thought of that we have never even thought of in our wildest dreams that can make this movie even better. And we can definitely try that out and see what we can come up with.
Just a curious question, like what would be our work schedule? How are we going to coordinate everything? Given that we are in a very different time zone.
Definitely.
So what would be the usual day of time? Okay, let's have a meeting this day just to work on something, then just get the shots moving.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
for most of the time, we're just gonna be communicating over the Discord server on the Metahuman channel that we've already established. We'll have our weekly meetings, which if this time is good for everyone, we can just keep repeating this meeting every week. Otherwise, we can try and adjust it if we need to fit it into anyone's schedule. So we'll be having weekly meetings just to catch up, and then we'll just update each other on the Discord server, on the Discord channel, whenever there's an update. This is obviously this is a side project, so we're not expecting you to work 8-hour days here. If you want to, you're more than welcome to, but we know you guys have jobs, you have lives, so we're not expecting you to just throw all your time into this. So we're gonna be trying to set things up so that it doesn't take too much out of your schedule. But once we have that information from editorial, we'll be able to set up shots and start working. We probably have maybe about 2 months or so to go through all of the facial, because we're starting. We have about 3.5 months until we need to finish this movie. So also let me tell you guys a bit about the movie, because I know we've been talking about Metahuman and all this technical stuff, but I don't know how many of you actually know about the movie. So what this is, what is TAOS? So TAOS, the Alchemy of the Storm. Basically, it's the story about Levina, which is our hero character. She lives in this world. This world is dystopian. It's very similar to Ready Player One, like extremely similar to that. But imagine, and it's also a little close to home, but imagine a world where there is this entity. They're called the Aura. The Aura is basically like Silicon Valley. Imagine Elon Musk, Bill Gates, and Mark Zuckerberg were one or had a baby, right? So all the big technical conglomerations are merged into one, and they are ruling the world through social media. The metaverse has become a thing, and the world sucks. And to escape this shitty world, everyone just puts on their VR goggles, their AR VR goggles, and they escape into this metaverse. Everything is connected. The way you buy things, the way you live your life, all goes through the metaverse. And points are added, and the more points you get, the more things you can buy. The status, everything is completely linked. So everyone is completely addicted to this metaverse. And then you have the resistance. The resistance is fighting back to try and regain everyone's lives, to regain creativity, to regain individual thinking. So Lavina is our hero. So she is sort of like leading the bastion against the fight. Our villain is the demon pope. So he's not actually a demon or a pope. He's just a Silicon Valley tech bro, but he thinks he's so powerful that he actually likes to call himself the demon pope because he feels like he's like the puppet master pulling the strings. So the goal of Lavina is to go and fight this puppet master and try and end his tyranny. So that is sort of like the goal of this. Then we also have the 404s. So the 404s are kind of like our zombies, but they're not zombies. They're actually a bunch of junkies. If any of you have ever either been to the States or Canada or probably seen it in movies, there are certain parts like in California and those areas where you have like a lot of addicts that kind of act like zombies. So you can imagine that they're similar, right? So, but instead of drugs, they're addicted to this metaverse. So, acting like zombies, they're not dead though; they're still alive, and they're out there to cause chaos, basically, or well, actually to stop chaos. So the way Delcia, our director, explained it to me was, imagine that there's no police, but through this social media platform, Aura can manipulate anyone to do anything. So let's say there's a threat. Lavina is doing something or someone's doing something. They release an alert on social media saying, if you capture this thing, dead or alive, you get X amount of points. If you get X amount of social media credit, you can buy a new suit or buy a new house or spend a day in luxury. So that's they get like incentivized to go in and defeat this threat. So this is the core idea, as to my knowledge, of the 404. So they all are kitted up with these suits. They're torn clothes because they only see each other through the metaverse, through their avatars, and they're just going out there. They're malnourished. They haven't been eating because they've been focusing on this virtual thing. So they really look and act like zombies, but they're actually not zombies. So we have a bunch of scenes where these 404s are just trying to capture Lavina. So she's fighting with them. She runs away from them, and then eventually she goes and fights the villain. But instead of just talking about it, I'm just gonna take the next few minutes just to show you guys what we have. That's not what I wanted to do. Give me a second. This is what I wanted to do. Okay. You guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. We're just gonna go here to the shots, and we're gonna go to the apartment. Just to give you guys an idea of what some of the shots are like, and everything will have facial motion capture. But this is her going through the apartment, and she's about to encounter those zombies. And this is all motion capture as well. This is the first one, and then we'll go here, the chase scene. Yeah, here we go. That is that one. Let's see, in the main, do we have the full one? Yeah, like over here. So for this guy that's standing over here, we want to probably put him on Metahuman as well and have Brendan record some sort of like, you know, something like that we can just add on top. So this is going to be one of our extra characters here that we're going to put some Metahuman on. So that is the apartment where she's running away from the zombies. This is the elevator. So this is the scene where things get real emotional. So she's running away from the bad guy. She stuck herself in the elevator to try and escape. She has this unicorn, which is sort of like the symbol of hope and creativity, which has been guiding her. This unicorn is stuck in the drone for protection. The bad guy crushed the drone. So it's a very emotional scene because we don't know, okay, is the unicorn okay? So she pops it open, gets the unicorn out, and then there's a bit of dialogue back and forth, and then I'm gonna try and see if we can get her to cry in CG.
Kika definitely cried on the day for sure.
Yep. I saw some of the footage, and that's when I saw that I was like, we have to do this. We need to try and see if we can make her cry in 3D.
We'll make it work. We'll make it work.
We'll make it work. And when we before we talked about the proxy, so this is actually our proxy, right? This is not as detailed as the final model because we were still quite early with this, and this is quite low poly as well. But this is our like emotional scene, and then I just want to show you guys quickly the fight scene here at the end, which is so cool. Which is the which one was it? Escape apartment AOP. It should be roof. There we go, roof.
Bro, but if you had a tear, that's like the marketing shot right there, you know,
Yeah.
where she's like, oh, yeah, and there's
That's
ooh,
gonna be awesome, yeah. Yeah, here we got the bad guy doing some teleportation. Some epic fights. Brandon, how hard did you kick?
That's all mine. Or no,
Nice.
did I kick a pad? I don't remember. It went so fast.
Nice.
I think I kicked a pad.
Mhm. It looks so cool. I was scrubbing through the mocap when we got the first live solves and just seeing you like kick over and over and over again. It just looks so good.
Oh, tight.
So what you're seeing now as well, this is not the final motion capture. This is what we call the live solves. So this is pretty much what was captured on the day. We're busy choosing which ones are going to be our final clips, and then we're sending that through to Goodbye Kansas, and then they're going to do a polish pass just to make sure we don't have any weird pops or hands in the wrong place. So what you're seeing right now, yes, it's motion capture, but it's still rough. It's going to be polished as we go on. And then we have... I want to show you guys a Super Saiyan moment, which is this one. See. Neela was on wires for this one, right? It looks so
It worked
cool.
surprisingly well.
It looks
That's
awesome.
probably out of the box.
Yeah. This wasn't touched up at all. This is literally just the live solve as is. So
Jeez.
it looks awesome. So as
This
she
is, oh, this isn't even final solve. Okay.
yeah, this is all live solve. This is not final solve yet. Just a little bit of like tidbit about the story and what's gonna happen here. So she pretty much in this world there's a storm. That's why we call it the alchemy of the storm. And this storm is basically uncontrollable chaos and power. And the villain, he was trying to harness this power. And you'll notice she has a horn, and the demon pope also has horns. There's a thing with the horns. Like the horns are conduits of this power. Like you can channel it through those items. So what's happened here is her horn is broken, and the Demon Pope has 2 horns, and she breaks off one in one of the fights. And what's happened now is the unicorn actually comes from the storm. He's an entity from there. So what happens is the unicorn fuses himself with the horn on top of Lavina, giving Lavina access to the power of the storm. And through this power, she's able to manipulate reality. So what's happening here is she takes her hand over the piano, and we actually have two models of the piano, which I'm going to show you guys right now. Where we have piano A. So this is the piano that's going to be the first one that's going to be seen in the very first shot when she moves her hand across. This is the Demon Pope's piano, and then we have piano B, which is more of like this old-timey grand piano. Just need to find it here. Piano B, which looks like this. So it's like this upright grand piano. If we look at some of the references, you can see it's this sort of like wooden. Hold on, we'll go to the very top. This sort of thing. So what happens is as she puts her hand over, it's actually she's going to manipulate reality and transform that fancy piano into this vintage piece of art. And that's sort of like the whole thing. She's trying to bring back the creativity that was lost through technology. So this is going to be a very cool effect as she goes over this transitions from piano A to piano B. And there's going to be here as well when she's touching the floor, and the floor is marble, but she's going to turn it into obsidian, and then she's going to have like an obsidian wave that's going to flow into the bad guy and then essentially turn him into stone. So in here we have some awesome acting from Brandon. There we are. Really awesome.
What was cool is people touched me on different parts of my body while I was performing to like know where to freeze.
Oh, nice.
It's kind of smart.
That's cool. That's really cool. Yeah, so this is our little project. I just wanted to show you guys what we're working on.
Very small. Very
very small. It's
very small. Yeah.
Tiny little 10-minute short film. Cool. Yeah, before we end this up, does anybody have any final notes, any final things they want to talk about or share?
I just want to say I'm so excited. Like, I'm very excited to work on this project. And I just want to say thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Awesome. We're glad to have you on board.
You should start your own YouTube channel of your own like reactions to things. It's really entertaining to watch.
It's just so awesome. Like the things like when you said like, oh my god, I'm kind of
the cut and everything. Like, that's great.
No, because like the thing too is like, I'm not gonna lie, motion capture is literally like, no, that sounds inappropriate. It's like my candy. I love, like, I eat this up all day long. It's just so nice to see.
She yearns for the HMCs.
No, I am so excited to hide in my little like cave room just to start working on this. Like, I am ready.
Awesome.
That's great.
You'll have a mountain of HMC data to work with.
I'm so ready.
Awesome. So one final thing, this project does not have an NDA, so you're free to talk about it. You're free to post on social media about it, to show your progress.
We encourage it, in fact.
Exactly. We actually encourage you to just share with the world what we're building. Just feel free. You don't have to, but we'd appreciate it if you tag us, Alchemy of the Storm, on your post as well. But you're free to make YouTube videos showing off the progress, to whatever you're doing. If you want to just quickly be like on Instagram, hey, look at what I'm working on, and just show like Lavina and doing like some cool expression. You guys are more than welcome to share what you're doing on here. And once we're done as well, we're gonna be prepping like a I don't want to say marketing package, but like we're gonna prep something that you can put on your reel that looks professional. You can put on your portfolio, your art station, your website, with the logos, with everything, so you can actually show people, or more so show clients and studios like this is what I worked on a professional production. You can put it in your resume and everything. So we really want to make this accessible to you guys to show other people and also to possibly get you gigs through this as well. So yeah. Awesome. Cool. If there's any...
So this time works for everybody in the future? Sorry. This
okay.
time every 1 hour every Thursday, and we'll just wave our hands in the air if it doesn't work?
It's a request. Maybe 5:30 would be a bit better for me, but 4:30 is still fine.
Okay.
Yeah, so that would be
Good
like
to know.
1 hour later, right, Rifat?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Anybody
Is that better for everybody?
Still good with that? So 1 hour later than when we started. So would it be like roughly...
Yeah, we're good with that.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool.
Okay, yeah, let's Brendan, let's shift it 1 hour later than that.
Copy you.
Cool. Awesome. Sounds good. If you guys have any more questions or need anything, feel free to write in the Metahuman chat on the TAOS server. I'm gonna start seeing if I can get you guys a little scene prep for tomorrow, but next week we'll start discussing more about how we're gonna improve the pipeline and if you guys have any more ideas on this. And once we actually start getting stuff from editorial, we'll start testing shots, and then we'll be in motion. Probably for a bit. Cool. Awesome.
Good chat.
Thanks guys
All
for
right.
joining. Looking forward to working with you guys, and have a good rest of the week.
Yeah,
I'm
you
looking forward to working with you all.
you.
Welcome to the storm.
Okay.
Welcome to the storm.
did. All right. Take care, you
Awesome.
guys.
Yeah. Thank you.
Take care.